Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Dehaya Dakshinaataye Namaha. Shanti Mantra. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarod Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam Me Astu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatsu Dharmaha Te Mai Santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So yesterday evening we were discussing the state of deep sleep. And deep sleep is a drishtanta, an illustration which is sort of close to moksha. It is not moksha, but by study of deep sleep we can understand the nature of moksha or freedom, because in deep sleep we essentially experience freedom. Bondage is a result of adhyasa, superimposition. The waking and dream states that adhyasa habitually takes place, and therefore in the waking state I take my cellular body, and therefore the mind I take myself to be gross and subtle bodies in the waking state. And therefore, those limitations are taken to be my limitations. Thus, throughout the waking state, when I look upon myself as a karta, a doer, bhokta, experiencer, speaker, hearer, thinker, knower, eater, drinker, walker, talker, man, woman, happy, unhappy, etc. So these are kind of the notions or complexes I constantly entertain about myself, which complexes arise from a habitual identification with the body, mind, sense complex. And I do not know, unfortunately, that this notion that I am entertaining about myself, that I am a doer, I am an experiencer, I am a speaker, I am a thinker, etc., that these are wrong. I do not know that. I have taken for granted that that's what I am. And thus, taking myself to be a doer, an experiencer, enjoyer, etc., then I naturally feel an extreme sense of limitation. Because doer is limited, speaker is limited, hearer is limited by the organ of hearing, speaker is limited by the organ of speaking. So I, on one hand, entertain these notions or conclusions or opinions about myself, and thus feel an extreme sense of limitedness and struggle to become free from them. So the constant struggle in the waking state to become free from this perceived sense of limitation. The limitation is just a sense, not a reality. But until I know it to be the sense, it is as good as reality for me. The rope snake example, I perceive a snake and I think that is a real snake. And then the snake, perception of snake causes various reactions in me. As I said earlier, to feel fear from a snake, there need not be a real snake for me to be afraid. All that is necessary is the notion on my part that there is a snake. Similarly also, for me to feel a sense of limitation, see, this is Vedanta. Just because I feel a sense of limitation does not mean I have to be limited. All that is necessary is a notion on my part that I am limited. So Vedanta alone teaches us that sense of limitation is a notion and not a reality about myself. Everybody else takes this sense of limitation as real, and then they teach you how to become free from that, how to go someplace called paradise or heavens where you will be free. All those things are based on taking my sense of limitation as real. And then they tell me how to become free from that. By doing something, the karma becomes most important thing, because then I have to change from being limited, I have to become limitless or free from limitation. Something has to be done. Vedanta says that even when you are feeling sense of limitedness, you are not. That is where knowledge comes. Otherwise, knowledge cannot be the means of freedom. Knowledge simply reveals what is. Knowledge does not change anything. Just as light reveals what is. If there is darkness, then I do not perceive what is. And light simply enables me to perceive what is. It doesn't change anything. So in darkness of ignorance, I do not perceive my true nature. And I take it to be contrary to what I am. What knowledge does is reveals my true nature. If knowledge is a means of freedom. In next chapter, sage Narada says to Sanat Kumara, Shrutam hiva me bhavadrishebhyah tarati shokam atmavid. O Venerable Sir, I will heard from great sages like you that the knower of the self crosses the grief. So by knowing the self, you cross the grief. Cross the grief, you become free from grief. Bondage. If by knowing the self, you become free from bondage, then the self must be free from bondage, because knowledge just reveals what the self is. Therefore, this is what Vedanta teaches. That what you are is free, and the bondage is a notion. What you are is happiness. Unhappiness centered on you is a notion. So knowledge simply removes a notion born of ignorance. A notion is born of ignorance, and knowledge simply removes that notion by removing ignorance. In the waking state, I have no opportunity at all. I constantly struggle to become happy, to become free. In the dream state, a similar scenario is there. In the deep sleep state, at least that struggle is not there, because there is no notion there. So in the deep sleep state, even the ego also is not there. Ego or sense of individuality also merges into ignorance. Therefore, there is avaranam but no vikshepa. As I said, ignorance has two aspects: avaranam veiling, vikshepa projection. Not knowing the rope as rope is called avaranam, and taking the rope to be a snake is called vikshepa. The waking state and the dream state, there is both avaranam and vikshepa. Not knowing what my true nature is and taking myself to be contrary to what I am. And that vikshepa, or taking myself to be contrary to what I am, is cause of suffering. Merely avaranam, merely not knowing, doesn't cause suffering. It deprives me of ananda but doesn't cause suffering. Vikshepa meaning the notion arising from identification is what causes suffering, sense of smallness. In deep sleep, because there is no identification, there is no notion, there is no sense of smallness, there is no samsara there. Thus, in deep sleep, we all become free from projection, adhyasa, samsara. Not free from ignorance. The avarana is, vikshepa is not there. So deep sleep state is characterized by freedom from vikshepa, freedom from adhyasa, freedom from wrong notions, and therefore freedom from all the suffering that comes from wrong notions. So in deep sleep state, there is freedom from sorrow. Then there is nothing now that separates me from myself. In fact, nothing separates me anyway. I am always what I am. But because of identification and the wrong notion, that ego, I feel a sense of separation from myself. Because I am body, I am mind, and therefore I am as though separated from my true nature. When? In the waking and dream states. In deep sleep state, that separation is not there because there is no identification. I become myself. Sata somya tada sampanno bhavati. Upanishad says that in deep sleep state, this one becomes one with his true nature. Not that I am not one with my true nature in waking, I am always true nature only. I don't become otherwise. But because I entertain that notion of taking myself other than what I am, therefore I am as though separated from myself in waking and dream state. That as though separation also does not remain in deep sleep state because there is no ego, there are no false notions. Therefore, Upanishad says, Sata somya tada sampanna bhavati. This one becomes one with Sat, existence, his true nature. Swapiti achakshate. He is called Swapiti. So when ordinary people see this person, there is a swapiti, which is a verb, which means he is sleeping. Swap, shayane. So there is root swap in the sense of sleeping. He is sleeping. But for those who know what really that sleep is, they know that swapiti. So swapiti is a verb or swapiti is a noun also. So for ignorant people, swapiti is verb. For the wise people, swapiti is noun. Is a noun of this person. Means this person is called swapiti. Swam apito bhavati. He has become one with himself. It's a revealing noun. So swapiti is a very revealing word. So explaining swapiti, calling it a noun, meaning subanta, meaning that it is a word, substantive with a suffix, is a revealing word. So swapiti is explained as swam apito bhavati. Thus he becomes one with himself. This method of explaining a word is called nirukti. This is not a grammatical, this is not a vyatpatti. This is not derived, grammatically. But you know what nirukti is? You take a word and from the letters of that word, you derive the meaning. For example, jagat. The ja and ga. So jayate, gacchati, the jagat. That's how it is explained. It's not grammatically. Grammatically, gacchati, the jagat. But nirukti is ja. So there is a letter ja, jayate, ga gacchati. So therefore, Lord Ganesha is Gajamukha. So there also Gaja will be explained as that which is cause of creation and dissolution, etc. So Gaja will be explained as Ishvara. Letters Ga and Ja. Gacchati, Jayate, it keeps on going, it is born, it dissolves. What I am saying is, there is this another way of deriving the meaning of a word, which is a fancy only, it's not grammatical. But somehow the letters which make up the word lend themselves to a certain meaning. And thus, in this another Upanishad also we find the common words are explained to contain a profound meaning. So swapiti is the common word, sleeps. But then it is explained as that this is the person who is one with himself, who is merged in himself. So in deep sleep state, one merges into oneself. Then, continuing that thought, although last night we ended with a certain suspense, if I remember, that others also analyze the state of deep sleep and come to other conclusions. Vedanta analyzes the state of deep sleep and understands that in deep sleep one attains one's own nature. One becomes Sat, one becomes Brahma, merges and becomes Brahma. But because of the veil of ignorance, one doesn't know. But as we said, the Buddhas say that if you say that Atma is Chit or consciousness, and consciousness is self-revealing, and you are always consciousness, then you must be conscious all the time. If consciousness is your nature, you should be conscious all the time. You are conscious in waking state, all right, in dream state, all right. But then if consciousness is nature, then in deep sleep state also your consciousness. In that case, you should be conscious of what is happening in the deep sleep state also. Then you should know that I am merged in my true self, something like that. But you don't know. That means that there is no consciousness in deep sleep state. That means you are not, if you are consciousness, you are consistently consciousness. See, that is called nature which can never be denied, which must be consistently there. Fire is hot and it's hot wherever it is. Whether it's in India or in Siberia, fire must be hot morning, evening. That is called nature. The nature can never be denied, nature can never not be. So if consciousness is nature, you must always be conscious. In deep sleep state, you are not conscious. Therefore, there is no therefore consciousness is not your nature. What's your nature? Shunya, non-existence is your nature. I mean, you see what people have already drawn conclusions and then they use this reasoning or something to only justify their conclusion. But sounds right, is it not so? If consciousness is our nature, should we not be conscious in deep sleep state? Should not be? But we are not. So conscious is not our nature, is it not so? See, in waking state we are conscious, in deep sleep, dream state we are conscious, deep sleep state we are not conscious. So understand that being conscious of something is one thing and being consciousness is another thing. In the waking state I am consciousness and conscious of something. In dream state I am consciousness and conscious of something. In deep sleep state, I am consciousness but not conscious of something. That's the difference. So, what makes me conscious of things in waking state? For me to be conscious of things, I require sense organs and mind. Only when the consciousness riding in the mind reaches out to sense organs. See, that is how perception is explained. The consciousness first gets reflected in the mind. That mind, enlivened by consciousness, emerges out through the sense organ like eyes and contacts the color of the form, and that's how the perception takes place. So in waking state we have the sense organs in the mind. That's why we are conscious of the objects of the world. Conscious of something. In the dream state, even though these physical objects are not there, there are those dream objects and dream sense organs and dream mind. Therefore, in a dream state, we are conscious of dream objects. The deep sleep state, how come we are not conscious of anything? Because the instruments required for being conscious of something are sense organs and mind. And they are not there in deep sleep state because they have merged into ignorance. Therefore in deep sleep state, I am not conscious of something. Not that I am not consciousness, understand? You must know the difference between being consciousness and being conscious of something. In deep sleep state, it is not that I am not consciousness, but I am not conscious of something because the instruments required for being conscious of something, mind and sense organs are not there. I will give you an example. So, my mother says to the child, go to this certain room and see what is there. Mom, I don't see anything. It's a dark, room is dark. Because the room is dark, this child does not see anything. Mom, I don't see anything. No, when I do not see anything, there can be two reasons. Either because I do not have eyes, therefore I do not, because I can't see. Or in the darkness, when I say I don't see anything, do I see or not? Tell me. Mom, I don't see anything. But do I see or not? I see the absence of everything, understand? If I do not say, I can't say I don't see anything, is it not so? So in the darkness, it is not that I don't have eyes, but I don't see anything because what I require to see is external light. So not only do we need the eyes for seeing the colors, we need external light also to illumine those colors, then we can see the colors too.